Okay, today we're moving on to equations. And today's lesson actually has two parts. This is the table of contents for part 1. Let's go to the next right-hand side page, page 13. Just want to remind you that when you're working with equations, you want to ask yourself, what's being done to the variable? And then step 2 is to work backwards with inverse or opposite operations. If you use this thinking, steps 1 and 2, every time you're going to be able to solve any equation. So let's go ahead and practice adding. I ask myself, what's being done to x? Plus 9. What's the inverse? Subtract 9. Now please make sure when you're setting up your work, you are showing subtract 9 on both sides of the equation. That means both sides of the equal sign. And when you work down. So on the left, the 9s would cancel to 0. All that remains is x. And on the right, negative 5 minus 9 is negative 14. Our solution is x equals 14. The solution is not negative 14. The solution is x equals negative 14, the whole thing. Let's look at a subtraction problem. It's the same thing. X minus 31 equals 7. So what's being done to x? Subtract 31. What's the inverse? Add 31. So we would add 31 to both sides of the equation, both sides of the equal sign. All that remains on the left is x. And on the right, remember, we work down. 7 plus 31 is 38. But recall that the whole entire solution is x equals 38. Let's look at a multiplication example, example C. Negative 6x equals 126. What's being done to x? Multiply by negative 6. So the inverse is to divide by negative 6. Now be careful. When you show divide, from now on, you need to use this bar. Do not use this bar for adding and subtracting. I'm going to say it again. Do not use this bar for adding and subtracting. It only means divide. Remember that we work down. Any value divided by itself equals 1. We don't need to write 1x, so just x. And on the right, we get negative 21. So our final solution is x equals negative 21. Let's look at how to properly set up a division problem. Example D, x divided by 8 equals negative 3. What's being done to x? Divide by 8. So the inverse is to multiply by 8. Now be careful. When you multiply by 8, you are really multiplying by 8 over 1. You do not multiply like this, because this shows you're multiplying 8 times 8 in the denominator, and we don't want that. We want the 8s to cancel out so that all you have remaining on the left is x, and on the right with negative 24. So x equals negative 24 is our solution.